Hi, my name is Newbie, aka Newbert, and welcome to my humble bog. To most, the pond is a friendly and welcoming place to all, but sometimes you may find it hard to leave. Us frogs can sit blankly staring off into the distance for hours before the parasites in our brains allow us to have thought. So for us frogs, the concept of time is often lost on us. Due to this being a part of our nature, I ask the question, what if I made something to help others enjoy the pleasure of sitting doing absolutely nothing? That is when I knew another magnificent piece of cardboard needed to be slapped into a deck of cards that only makes it as difficult as possible to play one of my favorite hobbies, Magic the Gathering. A long time ago, I once had a build of Derevi Empyrial Tactician, except it was themed around crabs and using every single crab card I could. The deck was terrible, but was incredibly funny to my smooth brain. However, it did not last, and an even more devilish idea came into my mind as the parasites once again took over my brain. What if I build a deck whose entire purpose was to make the experience of playing against it as unfun as I possibly could? Thus, Derevi arose from the ashes like a phoenix, and I began work on making the most unfun deck to play against. Derevi Empyrial Tactician is a green, white, blue 2/3 legendary bird wizard with flying, and the text, whenever Derevi Empyrial Tactician enters the battlefield or a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may tap or untap target permanent, and the activated ability to pay one colorless and one of each green, white, and blue to put Derevi onto the battlefield from the command zone. To some of you out there, just mentioning this commander will bring you back flashbacks and bad memories. To others, it will bring back very fond memories of being kicked out of the local game store or being hit with a chair. Derevi is likely in the best colors to make the experience of the game the most unfun it possibly can be. I have yet to play this deck at a local store from fear of being smacked with a chair or even banned from the store. You may think this is hyperbolic, but allow me to explain why this is. In this brew, the goal is not to win the game of Magic. The goal is to either completely turn off the game or make it so oppressive to play the game at all, people forfeit to escape the game. How, you might ask? One word. Stacks. Stacks is a descriptor for proactive pieces in Magic that make things harder to do. A prime example is the card Orb of Dreams, which only says permanents come into play tapped. This effect slows everything down as tapped cards typically cannot be used because of being tapped. As the entire theme of the deck is stacks, this deck also has an incredibly high salt summary of 88.67. For reference, the average is 38.36. This deck is almost triple the average. There are a total of 22 different stacks pieces in this deck list alone. Once I began proper work on this list, I once again started with my land base. Derevi has a set of 35 lands costing $35. The combos in this deck are a little more unique due to the goal. A prime example is the interaction between Drannith Magistrate and the card Knowledge Pool. Drannith Magistrate makes it to where my opponents cannot cast spells from anywhere other than their hands, and Knowledge Pool says Imprint. When Knowledge Pool enters the battlefield, each player exiles the top 3 cards of their library. Whenever a player casts a spell from their library, that player exiles it. If the player does, they may cast another non-land card exiled with Knowledge Pool without paying that card's mana cost. Fun fact, this combo effectively says my opponents can no longer play Magic the Gathering. You may only play lands, and that's it.
Oh, man!
If you play a spell from your hand, it just gets exiled immediately with no effect, and since Drannith says you cannot play cards that aren't in your hand, you cannot play any card that is exiled for free.
Oh, man!
If you thought that was bad enough, I would like you to look at another fun interaction between Derevi, Delny Streetwise Lookout, Stasis, and Smothering Tithe. Delny's Streetwise Lookout has the important text: if an ability of a creature with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. This is relevant because Stasis says each player skips their untap phase. During your upkeep, pay 1 blue or destroy Stasis.
Pay 1 blue. My child, I have returned to bestow upon ye forbidden knowledge once again. Have you heard about the bird? A bird ate my grandmother once.
Oh, thank you, Holy One. With this knowledge, I will explain. Normally, you end up being unable to pay for Stasis's cost after a few turns. Delny makes it so whenever Derevi or another power 2 or less creature successfully attacks, Derevi's effect will actually trigger twice, allowing you to untap both the attacking creature and a source of blue mana, meaning Stasis is basically here to stay. Sometimes, however, Delny or Derevi aren't around to allow this to work out, and that is why the Smothering Tithe is here. Another card most of you will groan to see. It simply says whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2 colorless mana. If that player doesn't, you create a treasure token. Due to the crippling effect of no untapped step, using mana to prevent the treasure token from being made becomes inevitable, if not guaranteed. A treasure token, for those of you who don't know, can be tapped and sacrificed to make 1 mana of any color. This means I will almost always have the mana for Stasis. Now you might be saying, Newbert, don't you have Orb of Dreams out sometimes? Wouldn't that stop this? And to that, I have to say yes it would. But,
and this is a big but,
I thought of that, and also put an Amulet of Vigor, which says, whenever a permanent enters the battlefield tapped and under your control, untap it. This prevents that from being an issue. Did those still not sound bad enough? Don't worry, I have one more to include. Dovescape is an enchantment with a cost of 3 colorless and 3 hybrid blue-white mana with the text, whenever a player plays a non-creature spell, counter that spell. That player puts X 1/1 white and blue bird creature tokens with flying into play, where X is the spell's converted mana cost. This card alone is incredibly hard to work around and remove, but it also combos with the creature Guile. Guile has the important text of, if a spell or ability you control would counter a spell, instead exile that spell, and you may cast the card without paying its mana cost. This means under Dovescape's effect, I can cast a non-creature spell such as Teferi's Protection and make infinite birds.
Hey, you guys are watching Bird Up, the worst show on television.
On my side of the field. Still not vile enough, here are some of the stack's highlights. Winter Orb, Static Orb, and Hokori Duststraker, because why not have all 3? Aven Mind Sensor, because I don't want you finding cards so easily. That's too much fun for you. Stop it!
Stop!
Rule of Law and Archon of Emeria, because playing too many spells a turn is just way too much. You get to play 1 spell. Dauntless Dismantler, because my artifacts are cool and Mom said you have to play nice. Grand Abolisher, because Mom said it's my turn and you have to wait until my turn is done. Yasharn Implicable Earth, because your stuff is really cool, so you can't sacrifice stuff because you worked hard for that stuff, so it has to stay. Outside of the stacks pieces, I also have taxes. Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, and Smothering Tithe, because you really should pay those taxes. The IRS is no joke, even in the pond. Us frogs think paying taxes is pretty cool, by the way, and you should do it. Consecrated Sphinx, because when you draw cards, I might feel left out, so I'll draw 2 cards. And the counter spells such as Counterspell, Last Word, Archmage's Charm, Mana Drain, and Render Silent. Now, after all this, I may have kept you at the bog for longer than you expect. You may be wondering, why would I even build something like this? Simple answer is, sometimes it's okay to lose. A deck of cardboard this vile tends to get slapped off the table extremely quickly. And as for most hobbies, you aren't always going to be the best or even win all the time. What truly matters the most is the time you spend with the people you share your interests and the memories you make with them. Sometimes just taking a step back and enjoying that time is more important. Even with something like this, the moments of frustration I have caused, followed by the laughter and fun that ended up happening from the time spent together, Slow down and enjoy the little moments. Hi once again to everyone who made it to the end of the video. Stay tuned for more videos like this, and don't worry, not all of them will be about Magic the Gathering. If you like this video, feel free to give me feedback in the comments. The deck list for those curious will be in the description. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Never forget.
He's trapped. How do you get like that?
Entrapment. We gotta incorporate that kid into the video.
I mean, he kind of works because the whole point is to make you unable to do anything.
Yeah.
It kind of works.
Entrapment.
No, it's held hostage.
Same thing.
Close
Whatever.
enough. They're synonyms. That's all that matters.
Oh yeah, I gotta close the door so we don't get AC.
Don't catch the AC.
Yeah.
What if he's trying to throw hands? We gotta catch him.
Yeah.
That joke doesn't work as well.
That's
Oh, there's a
Your refrigerator running?
Is your refrigerator running? You better stop him.
What that catch it?
I need to blow my nose before I do this.
okay. Blow your nose directly into the microphone.
No. Do we not?
If I don't know if I even have tissues. Hold on.
Do you have paper towels?
Yes. I just brought you the whole roll.
Oh my. I'm not that snotty. I just need to do it so I'm not going in the video. This effect slows everything down as tapped cards typically cannot be used. Fucking alliteration is hard. Oh, okay. If you play a spell from hand, it just gets
Exiled.
If you play a spell... Oh, I need to get the sillies up. If you play a spell from hand, it just goes... I can't... I'm going to highlight this so I can read it better.
The dyslexic font.
It really is. If you play a spell from it...
The impossible sentence.
If you play a spell from hand... Okay. Consecrated... Consecrated. Delny Streetwise Lookout has the important text. If an... I'm not doing good today.
Okay, we got a lot of bloopers.
I know.